Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more college Call of Duty action. It's been a grueling 9 weeks to get to this point. All the gas in the tank has been thrown into these matches, but now it all comes down to this. Regional qualifiers, win or go home. My name is Cambert, joined by my good friend Mick here. Mick, our final match of the night on the Bravo stream going to be Navarro College versus Colorado Gold. Both teams in the Southwest Division, of course. And like I say, it has been a long journey to get to this point. For Colorado, 8-9 on the season overall. For Navarro, 10-7, ups and downs. But really, it all comes down to this. The sand in the hourglass is slowly starting to dissipate.
Yep.
I mean, I think we'll take a look at the Bulldogs to start this one off. 10-7, like I say, coming into this one. For Colorado, they just won a game to get to this point. Navarro's kind of been sitting around a little bit. Have to wonder if they're getting iced out.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I mean, especially when you say 10-7, 8-9. I mean, at this point, basically, we could say CU Gold's 9-9. They've sat there, they've proven themselves in another match, they've gotten themselves to this point. So, I mean, we can't call them negative anymore. They're neutral at this point in the game. So, looking at that going forward, it creates a lot, more positive outlook when you're really trying to break down these guys, figure out what they got to bring to the table. And, looking at what they got so far, I mean, their spreadsheet's looking impressive. It's pretty spread even around the board. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to see exactly how they can adapt to these top dogs that are the Bulldogs.
Yeah, for Colorado, like you said, they have made it back to 500. Just picked up a win against Texas A&M University of San Antonio to get to this point where now everything on the line. It's an elimination game. We have our map set right above us on the screen. As you can see, we'll be going Garrison, Moscow, and an Express if we need it. But just kind of taking a look at this map set and how it's going to play out for these teams. I mean, we look at map one. Neither team has had a whole lot of success when it comes to Garrison hardpoint. For the Bulldogs, 2-3. For Colorado, 1-2. But, I mean, it gets to this point in the season. I think the way we're looking at this matchup for Colorado, really going to need to be winning the search and destroy. But, I mean, obviously they want to win the hardpoint to start.
Yeah, and I mean, when you break down these guys and look at them from the kind of hard point, whole perception they got, I mean, NC has a little bit, and Navarro, they have a little bit of a head up going into this. I mean, the guys, they always just look at their average hill time, look at their average score and how they perform in hard point. They usually have about a 30-second advantage over most of the teams that they play, looking at an average hill time. Meanwhile, Colorado Gold, they're kind of slacking a little bit. I mean, it's not too far by any means. They could definitely pull a wild card in here and find a way to go ahead. But, I mean, it's still 20-point deficit rather than advantage. So, I mean, that's kind of what they got to keep their eyes on and try to work for.
Yeah, Navarro, the Bulldogs, sporting a little bit of a better hardpoint record overall, 14-11 on the season. For the Buffaloes of Colorado, 10-13. So, really, we're looking to Colorado to try to win the search and destroy, but obviously they want to get it done in map one as well. In terms of players to focus on, I mean, the captain, it feels like, for Navarro has to be the guy in Relk, has an incredible KD so far this year. What are you seeing out of him, Mick, and what's he going to have to do here today?
Well, I mean, I see out of him. I mean, if I want to really bring up some highlights from this man, I got to talk about his control. But, I mean, we'll get around to that right now because, I mean, when we look at, I mean, this guy obviously needs to be a captain, needs to be a point man, make sure he's there for his team. And in hard point, I mean, I got to say, when it comes around to NC Bulldogs, Sabian being the man, absolutely just having an insane amount of time, having 100 seconds of hill time. I mean, this is exactly what CU Gold's going to have to find to lock down, especially the likes of Garrison. They got to find a way to lock this guy out, make sure he can't get these rotations in, find a way to close him off because, I mean, both these teams have what feels like a singular point man. They have to choke these guys out, find a way to scramble, and really see which team is better adapted in the further end once you lock that man out.
On the other end, we might be paying attention to Bugs, but already jumping into the action. Back and forth go the kills as we start to fight for some time on P1. It's going to be Colorado with the white on your minimap. Navarro, the Bulldogs, will be in red. More trades on the point. Royal finding two. He's going to be able to keep fighting as Andrew gets on the point and finds one. More trades back and forth. No time really going in either team's favor. 30 seconds to look for. But you can already see Relk here. He's starting to play this power position up in top green.
Yeah, I mean, these guys right now, obviously, NC Bulldogs having a favor going into this. You need to sit there and find a way to get these early rotations if you're CU Gold. Go ahead and get Andrew onto that side. Let your point man find a way onto the side. Let him get comfortable. Lock that team out and make sure he's not forced into these engagements because he usually has a tendency to lock up sometimes. You have to go ahead and force him out and make sure he's not put in those situations where he feels uncomfortable.
Navarro's able to grab 25 seconds off that final 30 on P1. Now the rotation to P2. They're going to be in a good spot. holding down top green. You got Relk watching the back line here in bricks. Players coming off spawn for Colorado. This is not the start they were looking for. This is already looking like it could be a solid 60-second hold for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I mean, but going forward, though, this is where the sides kind of go cross-map at this point. You sit there, go right across. That gives CU Gold the advantage that they can find a way to spread out, air these guys out, and, you know, space out these Bulldogs a little bit. They could easily get the next point and hold it down, especially being a corner site. It's a lot easier to hold down, and, you know, they can get a momentum going there and easily kind of buff this out. But they got to make sure to get their guys on there, find a way to lock at these Bulldogs, and go ahead and get that KD ramped up a little bit more than what it's looking right now.
It is going to be a solid 60-second hold on the money hill. Now the rotation over to P3. Got to get through this front line of Colorado that's been set down. Only 4 points, really putting a lot of value in this next hold to make their way back into this game. Nitros slowly walking ahead as he gets some shots from Bugs. Not going to go down just yet. Criteria finds the first big kill. And this is so far what Colorado's looking for, but really going to be making sure that they don't let this break happen. The Bulldogs, 2 players going to fall there. So far, so good for Colorado on P3.
Yeah, these guys are holding out these sides really well. They're making sure that they're kind of airing out the area. They're forcing the Bulldogs to kind of be in a situation where they're playing it slower, and that's playing in their favor as they can find time. Issue is, as you see right here, they're kind of starting to give up. They're starting to break a little bit. Now that the Bulldogs are kind of clustered, they're going to sit there and hunker down on you. They're going to sick you down, and they're going to get into the junkyard and make sure to show you what they're made of. And, you know, CU Gold is obviously did a great job retaliating back at that.
Yeah, after some slow moments, finally a fight takes place on the hill, but Colorado going to win out on those trades. They get a solid chunk of time there on P3, make their way back into this game a little bit as we get another rotation to P4. It's going to be the Bulldogs trying to keep the pressure on as these players push out of the vent room. One player here in Bugs sneaking underneath is going to get in from behind. He's on a 5-kill streak right now, so trying to work for something here. And I actually think Relk on the other side for the Bulldogs might have picked up his streak. It's not going to matter there for Bugs. He goes down. Royal up in the top. Going to get traded out by Andrew. Now a big fight taking place on the point as the spawns get flipped around. Colorado going to be in a favorable spot here to get control of top green. Going to have the height advantage. Still a 50-point lead. 40 seconds to fight for on this hill. Sabian, big kills coming in, but Ezio's up top on the bridge. Got to find him. They do. Team kill in the feed, but this is looking good for the Bulldogs. After Colorado gets some time on P3, they're back in here on P4.
Yeah, I see CU Gold kind of getting a little bit desperate here. They're speeding themselves up a little bit, not in a formidable way that's actually going to benefit them by any means. You see the guys, we saw Andrew up there in top green, trying to hold this out, trying to get a couple picks here and there. But, I mean, you're the point man. You need to sit there and find a way to hold back a little bit. That's usually your designated place. You need to slow down, wait for your team, kind of how the Bulldogs did for that P3, and find a way to flood the point and play it as a team rather than just kind of funneling in one-on-one and getting picked off, which all in all is exactly what gave the Bulldogs this momentum to push up closer to their spawns, allow them to go ahead and get on the first couple seconds on this next hill.
Looking at the scoreboards, Relk getting going on another streak. Already has that artillery from the first streak he went on at the start of the game. The captain for the Bulldogs that we highlighted in the intro. Really, I mean, I spoke to him before the match. He's looking to have a big one tonight. Says that he would be down bad if his team suffered a loss here in the elimination game. Now the second 7-kill streak, he's going to call in his artillery. Trying to work for that cruise missile. As a continued fight takes place here on this hill, the lead really starting to grow for the Bulldogs, up over 100 points, and Colorado hasn't touched the last 2 hard points. Starting to get away from him here, but some big kills now to get their way onto the point. Sabian trying to slow things down. He goes and dies to Bugs. And it feels like for Colorado Gold, got to get somebody on the point here to stop the bleeding.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's looking like their biggest man right now is Criteria. And issue is he's not looking the best when it comes to that KD ratio. He's not fighting himself on that point. He's not maintaining that control and finding a way to stay on there and really win these gunfights. And, I mean, if he's going to sit there and be the point man this time around, if you're going to make a switch up like that, you need to sit there and make sure to protect your man. Make sure he's not forcing those engagements if he's not generally winning them. And, I mean, it doesn't help you at all, really, all that much if the rest of your team isn't winning those engagements either. So they probably need to start grouping up a little bit more, finding a way to put themselves in these favorable situations and being in more 2v1s rather than those 1v1s being isolated.
Yeah, you look at the scoreboards, everybody except for one right now for Colorado negative. On the other side, almost everybody positive. Really has been heavily in favor of the Bulldogs when it comes to slaying. Back on P1 for our second set of rotations. Finally, some momentum starting to build. Criteria gets himself going with 3 straight. Andrew's up top. He's using the Milano this game, able to find another big kill off a spawner. A little bit of scrap time here, but the Buffaloes, they're ready for P2. They know what to do here. One step ahead as they get their setup down. They're going to have a favorable spawn. What can the Bulldogs do here, though, as they try to make another break?
I mean, Bulldogs, they're going to do what they're going to do. I mean, these guys have been doing pretty well so far. They're already in a 110-point advantage here. I mean, the guys are all looking positive for the most part. I think they just need to sit there and they can completely let this point slide by. As long as they find a little bit of contesting time, find a way to lock it down, and interrupt that progress a little bit, they'll be sitting fine and dandy going forward to actually maintain some sight for this P3 because they have the spawn advantage for it, and they had the kill streaks to lock it out.
Relk's going to call him the cruise missile, finds one. Criteria trying to slow things down with 2 kills of his own. It's good there as he finds Relk with his teammate Ezio. Still 30 seconds to fight for here, and the gold team starting to put something together on this P2. Now Sabian up next. He goes down to Andrew as well. A little finesse with the Milano is good. Teammates are saying, you got to go big there. As we've already rotated to P3, you're pretty much all alone on an island. He finally will fall, but I think it's an overall good performance from Andrew there. Able to build his team some solid time. Now we make another rotation to P3. It's going to still be at about a 100-point lead.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the guys on CU Gold. They held down P3 pretty well last time, and that's exactly what they need going forward. If they hold down this full site, they're going to be sitting at around 150. Already sitting there slacking this site right here, letting Sabian get on there isn't going to help your case, though, because these guys, they need to find a way to establish themselves, especially with how easy this site is, you know, to be able to transfer over to P4 and really hold yourself out. And, I mean, if you're going ahead and giving this up and you're not really fighting for it, your deficit's going to sit there and, be more not playing into your favor, obviously. You want to sit there and find some time here. Go ahead and get those spawns set up, get your men pushed up a little bit more, because this next site's going to be a lot harder being across the map once again.
Absolutely. The Bulldogs starting to taste the finish line. They can smell it. They're getting so close for Colorado. Scratching and nailing their way back into this game. Don't want to see a win for the Bulldogs as we get ready to make another rotation for Colorado. Going to be just trying to put some pressure down as these players try to make their way out. Nitro's into the vent. Uses bug spot that he used earlier in the game. Says, you can do it, I can do it too. Big kill there as these final 2 seconds are going to make it about a 25-point game for the Bulldogs. They can close it out on this next point. Royal finding 2 to open things up. Criteria there for 2 more of his own. That's going to be good to slow things down for the time being. But it really feels like Navarro are right on the tip of ending this game. Buffalo's getting onto the point. Starting to find some time here. It's just going to be one solid break for the Bulldogs that should be able to close it out.
Yeah, and I feel like these guys are playing it pretty tempo-wise right here. I mean, even though they had time, they played it very slow. They had plenty of time to work with when you're in a 100-point advantage. You don't exactly need to rush yourself on the site. You don't need to go ahead and give up your spawns, give up your lives, find a way over and over and over again to get yourselves locked out and create a little line, a little domino effect of getting killed. So I feel like they're fine with playing it slow right here. They only need 11 seconds. They're going to do fine when it comes to these 1v1 matchups. And even if you have a whole team against a whole team, they're finding a way to win those fights and duke it out and come out on top. And I feel like holding out these next 7, they're going to be ready for the next one and find a way to go ahead and close it on this next side.
Still needs 7 seconds, but we are going to see the rotation. One more hill to go. Bulldogs looking to close it out here. Colorado doing their best to keep it alive. Bugs going to be the one trying to do it. Relk able to find the kill. Couple players, will they be there in time? They do get there for the contest, and they clean the kill off the point. But one more from Sabian should be good to close it out. And the Bulldogs take map 1. Something that we might expect there. 250 to 130. And now it's going to be Colorado banking on their search and destroy, trying to even the series.
Yeah, and that's kind of an issue going forward, man. I mean, we look at these teams, and I mean, if we're going to go ahead and break down Moscow right here, and as well as search and destroy, you got to sit there and be worried if you're in the shoes of CU Gold. I mean, with these guys looking at their matchup, I mean, they performed as best they could when it came around to hardpoint, finding a way to really duke things out. But they just kind of slacked there in the end. They tried as best they could, but when you couldn't get your point mans on that side, when the Bulldogs are just locking you out and winning every single engagement, it's not going to end very pretty for you. So going into search and destroy, they have to find a way to win this, because you never want to be put into a situation where you're being forced over in control to sit there and win it by any means, especially seeing how you performed in Garrison this time around. You don't want to repeat that on another kind of mode. So looking at Moscow, I mean, we can sit there and check it out. Well, I know you and I were discussing this. The Bulldogs have a little bit more experience on this map than the likes of CU Gold, but I mean, you may think that's more of an advantage. I may think that's more of a wild card for CU Gold here, and they could actually pull something out.
Yeah, we were talking before the match that it really felt like for Colorado, search and destroy was going to be the game mode that they have to win. I mean, the Bulldogs coming in were the respawn team. They are able to win it in map 1 pretty handily fashion by at least 100 points. Like you say, now we turn our attention to Moscow search and destroy for the Bulldogs, 4-2 overall. Like you just said, Colorado hasn't played this map all season. They're 0-0, but Search and Destroy has been the game mode for them to fall back on, really do a good job as a team. It feels like Andrew, Bugs kind of throwing in their 2 cents, being the play callers, kind of the yin and yang, I guess you might say. I mean, what does it feel like for the Buffaloes has to be the key going into the Search and Destroy to try to even the series.
I think they need to throw a lot of wild cards out there, especially when you have no team seeing at what you had to bring to the table in Moscow. You haven't played it before. You don't have any kind of rumors to play off of. You don't have any film to look at. It's totally out in the wild right now. And I feel like CU Gold, what they need to do is find a way to throw these Bulldogs off on, a little bit of surprises, find some flanks here and there, find something that the Bulldogs aren't going to see coming. Get a couple rounds on their belt, find a way to just establish their dominance and go ahead and just keep on clipping off the Bulldogs as they're trying to, adapt to your play style and figure out what you're doing. And I feel like that could almost play into their favor as long as it's just done right. And when you look at the KD ratios, when you look at how these guys perform on an individual basis, I mean, I've talked about it with both these guys. You sit there and look at their point men, Andrew and Sabian. Now, when you look at these guys on the bottom end, when them having both the lowest KD, you usually want to assign that guy to the bomb. You want to sit there and make sure he's an objective player, that he's kind of playing around the side, making sure to play either defense or he's the one planning. And when you break it down and look at the likes of, say, if we get into a 1v1 situation between these 2 point men, you have Stay Woke Andrew and Sabian. Sabian sitting at a 0.98. 0.98 at that when it comes around to Search and Destroy. Meanwhile, Stay Woke Andrews sitting at a 1.32. So if it gets in those 1v1 situations, that one kill is going to turn the tides.
Right, and I'm saying it's a must-win because it really, really is. For Navarro, you look at the kill-death ratios and the respawn game modes, they're so great, all up over a 1. When it goes to Search and Destroy, that's where you start to see a little bit of a dip. Sabian goes down to a 0.9. Everybody has a dip when it goes to Search and Destroy in terms of kill-death ratio, but when it goes back to Control, it goes right back up. Relic up with a 2.4 Control kill-death ratio. So for Colorado, it really is a must-win. You can't stress it enough because if it gets to that Control and it's a closeout game, it just doesn't feel good that you're going to beat the Bulldogs. And we talked about it too, how for Colorado, they just won a game to get to this point. Navarro, they've kind of been sitting around waiting for this. We were kind of wondering if there might be some momentum playing into this game. But in map 1, it was all Navarro with the momentum. We jump into the Search and Destroy now. It's going to be Colorado on offense first. You said they needed some wild cards. We'll see if they have it in our first round.
And I think personally that could be this bomb site. I mean, we see these guys aiming towards A, and when you haven't exactly been winning your gunfights on those respawns, you kind of get shut out on that. It makes me a little bit worried to see that they're actually going to opt for this. But going forward, I mean, if they sat there and kind of drew a little wild card into the circle, if they play like everybody else and play into the film, they're going to be way too readable.
They're going right to the comfortable site in A. Gunfights right off the rip. Nitros with first blood, back and forth in the feed, but it's going to be the Bulldogs who win out. And you have that island player at number 5 coming around on the flank. Could be throwing a big thorn in the side. Here he comes around the back. Shots are going to be good. He finds both. And Navarro will take round 1 on the wide flank there. Yes, you go to A, but in the end, it's going to be Relk here, the team captain that we were going to be looking for. He picks up the first round win for his squad.
You can't do this. We've sat there. We saw it in Hardpoint. We see the stats for Control. Last thing you want to do is let this man route go off. As you said, we heard him time and time again talk about how he really wants this. He's going to make sure under any circumstances to get this win. And I mean, he needs to be that guy to shut down, especially him being kind of one of those point guys, being a huge influence in this game. If you find a way to shut him down, that's going to play into your favor. So they got to really focus up and get this man done for.
Spoke with Relk before the match. So confident coming into this. He says there's a sense of pride on the line. Navarro is a junior college. They don't necessarily have the depth or the amount of people, I guess, you could go to try to create a Call of Duty team. So they really are playing with a chip on their shoulders. And right now, they are in a good spot on this offense to make it 2 straight. They're going to have 3 home at B. Nobody there on the defensive end. Bomb's going to go down. Jeez. Finally, Colorado is aware of this move. They're going to be trying to rotate out of the back end, but Nitro should be here waiting for these 2 players. Great shoulder out of Andrew is going to be good to draw the fire. He's got the FFAR. He's going to get Nitro, so that's a great start here for the defense. Now a 3v2 retake.
Man, that right there, I mean, you sit there and expect that to kind of be a little bit of confidence for the Bulldogs. When you sit there and see, okay, they took way too long to adjust right there. I mean, maybe these guys, they haven't been practicing Moscow. They actually don't know what's going on here. So if we just keep on throwing wild cards in here, keep on going for B side, they don't know what it looks like. They're not going for it. So we're going to be sitting just fine and dandy.
And it felt like when Nitros dies there as the one holding down the rotation that maybe it was a big opportunity for the Buffaloes to retake. Criteria, as you can see, tries to play the bomb, laying right on top of it, but Royal, the shots are too good. So the Bulldogs, they're going to win 2 straight. And you're right, Mick. I mean, it felt like for Colorado, asleep at the wheel there. You got to realize that when nobody's home at A, something's up. They must be at B. Somebody at least should go check it. And finally, it took the bomb itself going down for them to open up to the fact that they weren't at A. The rotations come a little too late. Post-plant setup is good for the Bulldogs. So now up 2-0. They go back onto defense, and again, it's going to be an A push for Colorado.
Yeah, you got to know these guys are going to go for a flank, but they're most likely going to opt for that up-front approach with Ezio getting that pick right there and the criteria opening it up. I mean, you've got to sit there and find a way for these guys to really – you've got to notice some things a little bit quicker if you're going to be on these offensive – most importantly, these defensive rounds.
Big gunfight out of criteria, though, to make it a 1v2, and he's able to get away with his life. B is wide open if he wants it. Of course, he doesn't see what we see. He's checking all his corners to make sure these players aren't trying to hit him with a flank, but they're going to play that buddy system. Stay attached by the hip so the trades will come through. Relk sliding out. He's got the confidence. He's got the gunny. And he's got a 3-0 lead here for Navarro to start things off. I mean, they really just look like the more confident team, and that's what it comes down to so often at A. It's going to be a gun challenge that the other players probably has their sights up ready for you. You just have to be able to, with that movement, make them miss a few shots and win some big gunfights. Criteria was able to do it, but the Bulldogs overall solid on defense. And, I mean, you mentioned it, Mick. You felt like Colorado needed to throw in some crazy setups on offense, try to mix things up. They've gone straight to A both times.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you look at, I mean, it just doesn't come down to confidence at that point. It comes down to experience. And when you see that not only these guys are the Bulldogs, they're more experienced on this map, obviously proving it with their setups for each site and finding these rotations and getting these flanks in. I mean, they're more experienced with the thumbsticks. I mean, we see it personally, seeing how these guys are playing, how they're winning these gunfights, and finding usually the better end of things. That's just playing in their favor overall. And I think confidence is just, you know, it's more the effect than the cause.
Make a great point. Said it at the start. Navarro 4-2 on Moscow Search and Destroy. Colorado, this is their first time all season playing this map and mode, and you're seeing that inexperience on full display. Still looking for their first round win as now the Bulldogs go back on offense. They showed A. Now they're going to make the late rotation through the middle of the map and try to get to B. Nitros is saying nobody's here just yet. Bring the bomb on over. His teammates say, okay, we're headed over. Shots into bugs are going to be good. That opens things wide open. And again, for Colorado, okay, finally, you have to know that they're at B. They're actually shooting their guns this time. Here's your opportunity to rotate over.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, I mean, what more can you ask for? The Bulldogs are really saying, okay, we're over here. Let's get some fights going. We're up a man already. We're probably going to be winning these gunfights, but Ezio has something to say about that. I mean, this is where things could finally get interesting and CU could find something if they speed up here and go ahead and get these kills so they can get a defuse going down.
Sound the alarm as it becomes a 3v3. A great kill from Colorado there to start things, but it all comes down to Andrew here, 1v2. Sabian's going to fall as well. Bomb still has to be defused. Is he going to have enough time? He will not. But it is a valiant effort out of Andrew there to find at least 2 kills. Maybe could have worked a streak, but he's going to go down as well. So it's 4-0 for Navarro. And again, it's like you go over to B. Somebody in the comms for Colorado, it feels like, has to be sounding the alarm a little bit earlier. You have to just become that extra bit aware. I mean, it seems like the rotation just coming slightly too late.
Insult to Andrew right there. I mean, especially looking at how Andrew's been performing today and how well he's kind of holding himself. I mean, this guy, I said it earlier. I mean, he's not exactly the most favored when it comes around to search and destroy, but I mean, Moscow may be his map. But when you look at the rest of these guys, they're just not finding a way to buff it out, really play off this guy and find a way to win these gunfights, because you look at Bugs at 2-4, Ezio at 1-4. I mean, none of the rest of these guys are neutral or positive. So, I mean, at that point, you got to sit there and play into Andrew and hope that he can carry off. Y'all can find trades with him.
Oh, my. And finally, Colorado on offense going to change things up. Relk's going to be the one here to slow it down. 7-1. He gets 2 more to make it 8. Andrew finally there to trade him out, but Relk is probably going to be doing enough to slow down this push. Puts his teammates in a 1v2, and they are going to capitalize on it. Andrew just can't do enough to help Colorado. Now 5-0 for the Bulldogs. And this play at the start here was really the key.
I mean, yeah, Relk right there. I mean, obviously, man sits there, waits for the setup. When you don't have your guys checking your corners going into these sites, playing it slow, but also methodically, I mean, that's just really where you're giving things up. And that alone, Relk, he sat there and got behind 3 of their players, finding 2 of those kills. I mean, that alone just turns the tides, especially in those earlier picks. I mean, later on, you can find a way to maneuver around if it's a 1v2 situation, but right off the bat, to go ahead and get something that influential going for your men, I mean, that's huge. So, I mean, going forward, these guys are going to rush into the A, and I think this alone is just where they're going to try and close things out.
The captain going big in the elimination game is going to fall there as a first blood. It's an all-out bloodbath.
Oh, my God.
Open up the round and to close the round. So Colorado able to get themselves on the board. That one didn't take too long. You see what was taking place at mid-map off screen. Bugs was picking up some kills. He got a nice two-piece that really helped his team win that round.
Yep.
And that's the first step to a large climb for the Buffaloes. I mean, just to jump into your mind, you're a competitor, Mick. You know what's kind of going into some of the comms. I mean, when you go down 5-0, what kind of might we be hearing if we were to be able to have a listen in with Colorado?
Well, with Colorado, I'm going to sit there and think these guys are, just sit there and kind of play off that. I'm going to think these guys are getting cocky over here on the Bulldogs side. I mean, Navarro, you're up 5-0. You're sitting there really settling yourselves down. And I mean, that's exactly what they did. They got very cocky in the last round. They made some slip-ups, and that's how CU Gold took advantage of. And they're just having that influence. That one round alone is going to be the rally they need going forward. I mean, Criteria is the one who really needs to make it happen.
Yeah, and right now they're saying we're not going to slip up one more time. 5-1 here, trying to close it out. All up to big Criteria. Royal lays eyes onto him. They're all closing in on his position, and the Bulldogs are going to do it again here in map 2. Another commanding victory. 6-1, they go up 2-0 in the series, and all of a sudden Colorado are one map away from their season being over.
Man, I mean, that's just rough when you're looking at it. I mean, especially looking at how these guys, they finally sit there and give you a little bit of tease there at the end, let you get around on the board, and you're sitting there thinking, we got this, we can do something, and then just getting wiped like that. It's not very good for your confidence. But going forward, I mean, they sat there, they've had a target all day, and this is really where they got to follow up on it. I mean, I could sit there. I could literally tell you my notes right now. I can read off control, keys to victory for both sides of the field. It plays off one man, and we've talked about him all freaking night so far. Relk. Dude has a 2.04 KD when it comes around to control. I mean, that alone, CU Gold needs to lock him down. The Bulldogs need to keep him alive. He is... It's a protect the president situation right now. This man is your leader, and you got to make sure that he's either shut down if you're on the opposing side, or you got to keep him kicking if you're in the shoes of the Bulldogs. And that alone, I feel like, is going to be the big determining factor, because he has showed no signs of slowing down from start to the point we are right now. And I think all the way until that finish line, he's going to keep on going full sprint, and you got to slow him down.
It's becoming team escort. Protect the VIP as we'll take a very short break here before the Garrison control. We'll see if the Bulldogs can close it out in 3, or can Colorado retaliate here, fight back, and make it a series. Elimination game, win or go home. We'll be right back in College Call of Duty. Welcome back to the CCL. It's the regional qualifier. Both of these teams trying to punch their ticket to the round of 64 that takes place this Friday. If you didn't know, the CCL playoffs are very much so underway, and right now Navarro with a commanding 2-0 lead in this series just took the search and destroy 6-1. And that's bad news, Mick, because we really had this one circled for Colorado. They needed to win the search and destroy. Now you go to a closeout map on Garrison control. Both teams undefeated on this map and mode at 4-0.
Yep.
I mean, what has to be the key, I guess, for the Buffaloes if they want to get this series to a 4th map?
They got to find a way to win on these offenses, man. They got to find a way to start grouping up, winning these fights, going on to sites not usually expected. I mean, we even saw it over on Moscow S&D. I'm not going to blame that purely on experience, because I know these guys have played Moscow before, whether or not it's in front of CCL audiences. But, I mean, you need to find a way to manipulate both sides of the field. You need to find a way to lock down these back sides on defense, make sure Relk doesn't get behind your back like he did over in S&D, and find a way to sit there and clock this out and go ahead and find a way to get an advantage on the table, because otherwise that's really going to choke you up. Because I mean, I'll say it time and time again, I don't root for either team. I got to say neutral as a caster, but right now on camera, I want to root for CU Gold, because personally, I want to get to that Express S&D, because we all love it. So, I mean, that's really what I'm here for, and I'm hoping to see a little bit of a comeback so we can get a nice little map 5 on our hands.
It sure does make for a great scene in a map 5. I would love to see it just as much. Either way, going to be Garrison control. You're talking about Colorado. Kind of have to play as a team, try to slow down Relk. It feels like for Navarro, it's almost the same thing you've been doing all series long, and you're playing through Relk. Your captain has really been carrying you to this point. Just got to continue to kind of fill in those extra spots around Relk.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I said it right before break. Stop this guy. Easy as that. If I'm the coach for CU Gold right now, I'm gonna say, do you guys know what his character model looks like? What's he wearing? Okay, go for that. I mean, that one man alone, it's going to shut down everything. It's going to ruin team morale. It's going to sit there. The back that is carrying the rest of these guys right now, if you break it, the rest of them are going to fall to the ground. And that's exactly what they have to look for if they're going to win this. And looking at Garrison, how they performed that first time around, I mean, it's looking pretty intimidating for them.
Both teams undefeated so far this year on Garrison control. We jump into it for Colorado, trying to keep the season alive. The Bulldogs have had all the momentum in this one. Going to be Navarro on offense. They're going straight to A. 2 players already getting a stack together. And for Colorado, you got to answer this back quick.
Oh, easily, especially if you're going to be giving up the A side. It's usually the easier one to cover, especially with how you had to set yourself up. An offense, the kind of maneuverability and the way you had to get around the map to even get on that site. And when you look at the likes of Relk just going ahead, finding that momentum and getting on this site, getting those kills, it's not going to be good, especially if you bring that momentum onto the B site, which is so close, so straightforward, and so fight dependent.
Yeah. Relk was the guy you had to slow down. It's so far not so good. He's off to a 6-0 now start. Gotta go to him. Gotta show him some love here as he looks for this. Already has the artillery. Trying to find the cruise, and it's there. He picks up the kill onto Andrew. Now making his way into spawn. He's not done yet on this rampage. Make it 8 for Relk here in the first round as he puts on a display here on College COD Bravo. Looking for 9. Why not? He already put damage into crit so his teammate can find the kill. Finally, they're able to pick him up, but it's not before his team on the back line is able to capture the point. I'd say that's a pretty commanding first round there for the Bulldogs.
Oh my God. That's all I got to say, man. That was insane. This man was all the way back in your spawn. He hasn't had a single death in that entire round. I mean, that's scary. I'm not even playing right now, and I don't want to touch this man. I mean, I don't even want to leave spawn. I'm going to find a corner to hide in, say, take that point, we'll flip it on offense. And that's exactly what CU Gold is going to do now. You don't have a man who's going to find a flank. You don't have them on the offensive. There's not as much of a wild card anymore. You know he's going to be on A side, he's going to be on B side, or he's going to be trying to go in between those to get a flank on you. So as long as you guys can lock it down somewhere, find an established lead on one of those sites and start winning some gunfights as a team, as a unit. They should be looking fine going forward, but they need to win on offense. Otherwise, Navarro's going to keep this lead.
The captain playing with a chip, able to grab both streaks in that first round. Now we switch things up. It's going to be Colorado on offense. They're taking a different route, getting right onto B. Already 2 ticks of progress coming through. And if you're the Bulldogs, you got to act fast. Relk has been so red hot, unable to land the shot on the Andrew there. His teammate finding one. Team kill will make it 2. Back and forth they go in the kill feed, but B, that's been captured already. Extends the clock now up over 2 minutes. Lives probably pretty even right now. All of a sudden, Colorado, they've made this round a little bit easier on themselves.
Yeah, and especially coming in with that push from Royal right there, going ahead on the side, slowing these guys down, making those comms saying, yo, he's over there on B side still. He's on B side. And that just sits there and puts a mentality into your team saying, we got to slow down, otherwise he's going to come from the back of us if we try and go and rush for that A side. I mean, that alone is just a good play from Navarro, stalling out that time, finding a way to kill some of it, because with CU Gold getting so much time up front and getting that free minute right off the bat, it feels like that's going to help them going forward.
You've got step 1. Unfortunately, step 2 a little bit more difficult as these players going to push on up into the spawn to try to continue to grab some map control. You see these white arrows, they're pushed way up, finding all the kills, make it 3 in the feed, all up to Relk here on an island. We'll see if he can do it. Probably can. 10 and 3. Finally goes down. That's huge right there for Colorado. They're able to get 3 players on the point. This progress is going to be flying up. Relk says, might as well call the streaks in now. Not going to find much better of a time to use them. Unable to find any kills, but his teammates will pick him up as everybody forced to get inside. Another one there for Nitros after the team kill. Make it 2. And that's enough to clear off the point. It was a little bit looming there for Colorado. It felt like they might do it there, but the streaks are going to be huge from Relk.
Yeah, and I'm going to say going forward, I mean, nobody can really see the lives right now, but I got to assume looking at how these guys have been trading out, I mean, obviously you get a quick little lead of them when you're in the likes of CU Gold on that ace, or on that B side, excuse me. But I mean, going forward, you see how you can just tell how they're playing right now. They're taking it a lot slower, a lot more methodical, because they're trying to reserve what they have left. Because, I mean, that first round didn't do too good for them, and they're a little bit scared coming to this second one, and they got to find a way to pull it through, and they're seeming to do a great job so far.
They were able to get that first tick of progress. Relk now picking up the Krig, mixing things up a little bit. He's got a player in contest. He's able to find 2. absolutely outstanding performance right now from Relk. 13-4 continues to be the front line here at A, and it's so difficult to get through. And you're right, Colorado continue to go around this long side. DeBricks feels like the lives have to be dwindling down as 2 more fall. Bugs trying to push his way up. Relk says, I'm leaving the point. I'm looking for more kills. He's finding more kills. Another 4-kill streak, 14-4. Don't let that happen. Andrew able to finally clean him up, but with 5 seconds left, there's not going to be much of an opening unless Criteria. That's a huge kill. Can Nitros get the trade? He's looking in the wrong spot. He's not there, Nitros. He's up above you. And then more streaks from Relk just when things are getting testy. He's going to completely clean off the point. And Navarro, they take the 2-0 lead.
I got to say, I mean, that was a great approach that we saw right there in the end from CU goal. Getting a couple guys to go from the back, to strike those guys, get a clip right there. And meanwhile, once you see the likes of Rule and the other guys pushing up, finally getting those clips saying, all right, that's off my belt. You turn around and see 2 more other guys running for your point, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, that would have been great to do there in the middle of the round a little bit earlier when you have more lives to work with. Issue is in this later game. I mean, that's also when Relk, he knew that time. He knew the clock. He knew the lives. He knew how that was going to play out, and he knew that he was able to kind of wander out a little bit and still feel pretty safe when he's got the likes of an artillery strike in his back pocket, which we saw him do a great job of clearing out that site there in the end and just finding a way to close out that clock.
He was able to pick up those streaks in round 1. They come up huge there in round 2, gets his team in the lead. Now a closed out round, 1 round away from advancing to the brackets. For Colorado, 1 round away from the season being over here in Cold War. Back against the wall. How are you going to answer right now? Navarro, 2 ticks of progress at B. Starting to get something together at A as well. Desperation mode right now for the Buffaloes as they try to clear these players off the point. They're able to get a couple kills, but B is going to get captured. Now you have to turn your attention to A. Nitro's playing the Creddy spot. He's going to find the first kill sneakily at 15-6. Says, don't forget about me. Yes, Relk is 19-6, but Nitro's also having himself a game here. The second tick of progress coming through. All of a sudden, it's starting to look dangerous for Colorado. Last tick of progress. Nobody's going to be there to make the run, and this looks like the end of it. The Bulldogs commanding from start to finish. They win the hard point by 100 points. The search and destroy by 5 rounds. And here in the control, it's a 3-0 sweep of Colorado Gold. And I mean, congratulations to the Bulldogs. Unfortunately for Colorado, probably not the performance you were looking for, but even still, there were some signs of positivity. Unfortunately, that's going to be the end of the road for them as we watch Sabian here in the kill cam.
Yeah, I mean, even then when we break it down, I mean, listen to how we talked about the team's morale, talking about how, you know, talking to both these team captains and seeing how they come into it. I mean, as you said, Bulldogs, their vibes aren't exactly all that high. They don't feel like much like a unit. I mean, when you see it today, I mean, not the subliners. I mean, but when you got the like of Clayster in there, he's sitting there saying, you know what? I can operate without a team. 1v4 all day. Let's run it, baby. Relk was that man tonight. That was their Clayster because the dude ran the table. I mean, and you couldn't find an opportunity to slow him down. And especially, I mean, you found a little bit of victories here and there, just at least saying, yo, we got a round in surge. We got, you know, at least we're not in the 100-point club and regional qualifiers. I mean, that's all fine and dandy. But I mean, when you have these guys just absolutely establishing themselves from the likes of Navarro here, just stepping up, saying, you know, it may have seemed like we may have not been really doing all that much when it came around to like, you know, preparing for this. We may have a little round off to ourselves and we're not exactly warmed up. Baby, if we're already on fire, what's it matter? So, I mean, just, man, goodness gracious.
Yeah, Relk was certainly on fire all throughout the series. Got to highlight him. Also his teammates, though, throwing in their 2 cents. Nitros had a big third map there as well. For Colorado, I think the map set doesn't favor you too much. You hadn't played Moscow once all year. Of course, you were looking to win your search and destroy, and it wasn't easy to do it there. Have to give credit to the Bulldogs, though. An unbelievable performance. They win it 3-0. They will move on to the bracket to play on Friday. And it might be the end of the road here on the Bravo stream tonight. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow. But the good news is there's another game happening now on Alpha and one to come after that on Alpha. So there's plenty more action still taking place. But to recap how things have gone so far tonight, earlier, it was Nebraska taking down St. Ambrose. On the Alpha stream, you had Texas Gaming with a win over UTD COD Green. And then Tulsa with the win over Oklahoma. Now Navarro picking up the 3-0 sweep over Colorado. Like I say, we're going to close things out here on Bravo, but plenty more action taking place over on Alpha. Mick, any final thoughts on this series as Colorado is going to see things come to an end?
I mean, regardless of what happened, I mean, Colorado's had one hell of a run. I mean,
Right.
you can't sit there and sleep on the guys. They made to this point in the series. There's so many teams. There's like what, maybe 30, 40 teams who didn't even make it to this point. So, I mean, you've made it further than a lot of people. By no means do you sit there and, doubt yourselves. I've faced these guys in Modern Warfare, and I've seen them, contend today. I mean, by no means do they sit there. Does this diminish what they've accomplished? Come around next year, these guys, I mean, they're still a young squad. They've sat there. They have a lot of synergy going for them. And I feel like, especially having a secondary team to play with for the rest of the season, these guys going forward, they're only going to get stronger. And I mean, by no means should you sleep on them going forward. But with that, I mean, just congratulations to the Bulldogs and how they've done. And by all means, I mean, just a great showing from both of them, whether or not tonight or this whole season.
It's going to be the Bulldogs coming out of the Southwest Division in the regional qualifier. Like I say, they move on to play on Friday. Like I say as well, over on the Alpha Stream, Colorado Frost down 2-1 right now to UWYO Esports. So you're going to want to go check that action out. But that's going to round things up for the Bravo stream here in College Call of Duty. We'll be back tomorrow night. For Mick, I am Cambert. Thank you so much for tuning in. And it's not over just yet, folks. The playoffs just getting underway. We'll see you in just a little bit.